Hey everyone, my name is Cash and welcome to my channel, So-Called Cash. In this segment called Cakes and Cash, we bake. Let's get it. So today we're gonna be making a Haitian cake. This is a shout out to my roots. I was born in a Haitian household. Both my parents are Haitian. So to make a Haitian cake, we'll start off with the ingredients. We have the cream and butter first. So we have 2 cups of sugar, 2 sticks of unsalted butter, and 1/4 cup oil. I use olive oil, but you can use whatever neutral tasting oil you prefer, like vegetable oil, canola oil, grapeseed oil. I wouldn't say avocado oil because to me it has a slight taste, unrefined or not. I'm not really feeling that taste. But those are your options though. So now we're gonna cream this together, and we do that because we wanna create air in this part to also add a nice lift to the cake, which the baking powder will do. But by doing this as well, we make it not have to work so hard, the baking powder. So we cream this butter and sugar and oil for 5 minutes. Let's do that now. All right, so we're gonna mix this for 5 minutes to incorporate air into our batter, okay? This part you have to have patience with. That's why I set a timer, because if I decide to watch the clock, I will most certainly only go for 2 minutes. So we're gonna keep mixing this. Right now, if you can see, it looks a little choppy. And it's like, really? You're gonna put this inside of the cake? But it all comes together if you give it the good 3 to 5 minutes. I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually starting to not look so sandy and clumpy, and it's actually starting to fluffen up. And it's so funny because as a kid, I used to actually watch my mom make cakes. And honestly, I was never actually really interested in what she was doing. I enjoyed eating it. I loved eating the cake. She used to make this one cake that had this orange syrup on there that I make as well now. But outside of that, I had no interest. And I actually did try, a few times to try to help her, can I write the name? Can I, practice putting a flower in there? But it would be kind of messed up because she would have me sometimes try to do it on the cake that she was going to give to a client, and so I'd get in trouble if I messed it up. And it was those experiences, I guess, that kind of also made me deter a little bit from making them, from even wanting to try to do cake. And also because my parents, as Haitian parents, wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer. So even though I watched this woman make money from selling cakes, doing something she's been doing since she was a teenager, it didn't cross my mind that that was something I could do too, because I was never really around that. Like, I'm around her doing it, but I didn't think it was something I could be successful at myself. Even though I'm watching her get clients and make wedding cakes and all kinds of stuff. And then I started working my first full-time job. And in that space, I actually started making cheesecakes. And then from that experience, it kind of dawned on me. It was like, hey, you actually can do this for a living. People were actually paying me to make the things that they saw me make. And so it's kind of weird, to not have wanted to for so long to make cakes. It wasn't even in my vibration. You could have never told me I'd be making cakes today. But here I am. One of the things that I do underneath this brand of So-Called Cash is make cakes for a living, and I'm so grateful. All right, so I just hit 5 minutes on my timer. And as you can see, it's definitely way more fluffy, way more emulsified and combined and not choppy and sandy. And that's what we were going for. We're gonna continue incorporating air now by adding our eggs. I add in my eggs, and I use 6 eggs for this recipe. I add in my eggs 2 at a time. And when I add in the first 2 eggs, I mix for 2 minutes. Second batch of 2 eggs, 2 minutes of mixing. Last round, 2 more minutes of mixing. And that means that's an additional 6 minutes of me incorporating air into my batter. So here we go. To shout out to my moms on my menu. I named the Haitian cake Yvette because that's her name. She laughed at me. Now we're gonna add in the things that make this a Haitian cake. We have lime zest. I freshly grated 3 limes to get 2 teaspoons of lime zest. We're gonna put that in there. But hold up and put my finger in there because we're gonna make sure we get everything that I put my back into. And then I have 4 tablespoons of Haitian rum, that barbecue, okay? So in this bowl, I have 4 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder. And then I have 1.5 teaspoons of salt. To that, I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of freshly grated nutmeg. 2 teaspoons of freshly grated nutmeg. So for my dry ingredients, I have my whisk, and I just whisk that all together. I love Haitian cake. And now we're going to incorporate this into our fluffy mixture here. I have my strainer, and I pour about a half. Well, no, depends on how I feel. Right now, I feel like pouring a third. So I pour about a third into my strainer, and we strain it so that it can come into the batter fluffy and aerated and not just dense and packed. So I'm gonna pour a little bit into there, just a little bit. Okay, and we're gonna sift that to create some air in the flour. Also, by the way, if you wanted to use this recipe, I use all-purpose flour, but if you wanted to use cake flour, which would absolutely ensure that your cake is extra, extra soft and moist, you use 4.5 cups of cake flour. And cake flour is definitely what I prefer to use, but I had all-purpose flour on hand, so I adjusted the recipe to use that. But typically for cakes that I sell, I use 4.5 cups of cake flour. And I use cake flour because cake flour actually has a lower protein content. So it doesn't really, of course it creates gluten because any wheat product is going to create some sort of gluten, but it doesn't create as much, especially so quickly. So I put in a third of the mixture here, and I'm gonna incorporate that in on the lowest setting into our mixture. And then while that's happening, I'm going to put a third of our milk mixture. And this milk mixture, we use evaporated milk, okay? A super staple in the Haitian household. We mix that just for a little bit. That's good. We're gonna go for a third again. So in here, once again, 3/4 cup evaporated milk, 2 teaspoons of almond extract, and 1 tablespoon of vanilla. My mom used to use vanilla essence, but when I found out what vanilla essence is, AKA is a whole bunch of ingredients I cannot pronounce, and it actually tastes really artificial to me. I don't use it. I just poured another third of the flour in here. We're going to start incorporating. And as I'm incorporating, I'm going to add in another third of my milk mixture. That's good. I don't pretty much go for more than 10 seconds. I really try to keep the mixing minimum here because we don't want to get the gluten to form and then give us a tough cake. We're more so, that's why they say don't over mix, but it's like, what is over mixing? And so that's why I'm like, you also have to, practice in the kitchen to figure out what over mixing is, especially what it is for you. To me, over mixing is you just keep going and going to the point where this becomes so sticky, you're creating bread. We don't want bread, we want soft cake. So I mix for a little bit, like 5, max 10 seconds, but I don't want to get to 10. But because I'm talking, I probably am. Another third of this. Mix it in. Ooh, rice. Low speed. Add your milk. Okay. We finish off the milk in this part, and we end with flour. That's just what I do. Don't ask me why. Okay, here we go. But I do that though because I feel like if I add that flour last, the chances of it becoming really sticky are like less because it got a chance to interact with the moisture less. All right, this is our last set. Actually, this is when I This is probably pretty much the first time I start scraping down the bowl. But it works for me. Just to make sure all the last of the flour is incorporated. I was a little rough there, but it's okay. All right, here we go. Let's mix that in on low. Is missing some milk? Are you done? All right. The rest I do by hand. It smells so good. If y'all try it, y'all smell that lime zest, that hint of rum. All right, I'm gonna stop here. Just push everything to the side, because you know how it can get messy sometimes when you start baking and you're in the zone. Okay, so this is our finished batter. Still looks fluffy and incorporated. Not super sticky the way bread is. You can tell it's very moist. And y'all watch that thing rise in the oven, okay? And so I use, this recipe actually can create 3 9-inch layers of cake. I already buttered and floured my 3 baking pans. I'll probably use about like a half a tablespoon of butter for each pan and 1 tablespoon of flour to beat it around the pan so that it can be nice and coated. And I can put my mixture on there and it won't stick. It literally comes straight out, and you'll see that later. All right, so I'm scooping. That's 1 scoop so far in there. And I'm gonna give it 1 more scoop because they pretty much literally all take this, literally 2 scoops per batter. Here we go. No batter left behind. That's baking pan 1. Baking pan 2, 2 scoops. Using my spatula, I take that out. Another scoop. Okay. And the rest is literally for the last pan. Make sure I didn't get anything. I don't measure this part because I've done it so much. I literally know what's left in there is enough. 2 cups to cover what's in here. So I literally, aren't spatulas amazing? It literally ensures that you don't leave anything behind. Scoop that in there. Trying to get everything, but after a while I just quit because I'm like, there's gonna always be a little extra in there. I use the back of my of my measuring cup to get what's on the spatula. Okay. And then I use my spatula just to spread it around. There's 2. And this is our 3rd 9-inch pan. The kind of pan I use is, I got it from Nordic Ware. It's a stainless steel aluminum pan. And it's amazing. And I feel like it gives it such an even rise. Remember, I was using 1 pan and I felt like the cakes were burning before they even had a chance to cook. It was weird. I could smell the burnings, like the burning of the pan. So I just had to find me a good set of pans. And this was definitely the brand that worked for me. So there you have it. We have our Haitian cake batter in 3 9-inch baking pans. And I'm gonna put that in the oven on 350 degrees Fahrenheit for my oven. Remember this, you have to also ensure that you know what your oven is. For my oven, I know it usually takes about 26 minutes, like literally, it becomes this accurate. So I'd give this 25 to 30 minutes. So for you at home, 25 to 30 minutes, begin checking your cake. Mine is usually ready at 26. Do your thing. Let's go bake this. All right, y'all, and we're back. And yeah, let's get into making the frosting now so we can start decorating. Here we go. And also, real quick tip, the reason why I don't bake my cakes on the same day to frost it and give it away to the client customer is because the cake needs time to cool. And the last thing you want is to frost a cake that you think is cool, and then when you put your frosting on there, it actually starts to melt. It'll all go to shits. So in my bowl, to make the frosting, I have 4 sticks of butter. That sounds like a lot, but this is just a double recipe. Usually I use 2 sticks of butter if this is just for 1 serving of frosting that I use, but I want to double it so I can make an elaborate decorative cake. So I have 4 sticks of unsalted butter. We're gonna beat that with 6 cups of powdered sugar. We're gonna sift in the powdered sugar because powdered sugar is notorious for clumping, and you're gonna have clumpy buttercream, and we do not want that. We want smooth buttercream. And you can tell I said that with feeling because it happened to me many times, and I don't want it to happen to you. Okay. Got my strainer. We're gonna pour our flour. We're gonna pour our powdered sugar, sift it to release any big clumps that probably formed while it was in the bag, and we don't want that in our goodness. This takes a little bit. Sometimes I can't front, I do use my food processor because it takes out all the clumps. I can put my butter in there hard and it'll perfectly soften that butter and emulsify everything, and then my frosting is done. But I wanted to do this with you guys, so I'm gonna go through it. All right, I'm done for now. I'm gonna blend this and I'll get back to you. All right, you can tell it's incorporated. Let's go for our next set of powdered sugar. Oh, all right, okay. We're making a mess here, but it's okay. It'll all work out in the end. All right, wish me luck. It's a lot of flour. I mean, a lot of powdered sugar. Sorry, y'all. Okay. So before I mix in the last set of powdered sugar, I'm gonna add in only 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. So we're gonna pour that in there. In this heavy cream, I put just a dash of salt. Just a dash of salt to help offset the sweetness. It doesn't even do much, but it does a little something. It really does to me. And I'm big on flavor. So yeah, just a dash of salt inside of the heavy cream. And then we're gonna also pour in, what I have in here is 2 teaspoons of almond extract. And then I also have 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. I'm gonna mix that in there. We're gonna add in the last of the flour, and then we'll add in my secret ingredient for my frosting. All right, we're gonna mix that in there. And by the way, I don't think I mentioned it earlier when I had the butter in here. You should be able to squeeze the butter and leave an indentation in there without your hand being greasy. You don't want the butter to get to the state of being greasy because then that'll impact your frosting. And last but not least, to finish this off, I use 1/2 cup of white chocolate. It gives it such a nice flavor, y'all. Oh my God. And now I'm gonna bump it up. I'm gonna bump it up now to medium speed to get this really going. And then I'll hit it towards the end for high speed for about a minute or so. So this whole process, you can see, probably takes about a good 7 minutes or so. The same with like how we were making the original batter to incorporate the air. It takes about this much time too to get that kind of fluffy type vibe. So I would say about 7 minutes altogether to do this whole process. But actually, take however long it takes you to get it nice and fluffy and a nice consistency that's smooth enough for you to spread on your cake, okay? So I'm gonna give you my time, but work on your time. Ooh, okay, let's see. And can y'all see that? Come on now. Nice and smooth, nice and smooth. Very nice and smooth. Now I gotta go wash that off. But our frosting is finished. And so the next step is gonna be decorating our cake. And we're back. Okay. So we left off finishing up making our frosting. That's all done. Now we get to the even more fun part, because as an artist, I really just love putting the cakes together, making it look really pretty. And here we're gonna do it now together. Okay, can you see where this cake is kind of brown? I put my knife right around there, and that's when I begin. This line that's right around there. All right, here we go. hand flat, elbow locked in. I don't move this arm. I use this left hand to turn my cake and to bring the knife through. All right, that went through. Even though we went through some shit, we're here. Woo! Okay, let me get my cake turntable so this doesn't happen again and it can be more easeful. Pink cake turntable, thank you, sister. This was hers and she gave it to me. Cake board. So I have a 10-inch cake board for the 9-inch cake. So I put the rag on the bottom, the cake board on top. So to ensure that the first cake layer doesn't slip and slide on top of the shiny cake board, I put just a little dollop of the frosting we made. It doesn't look like a dollop anymore, huh? Okay. Smooth that on there. All right. Let me put our first cake layer. Bow. Press down gently, yet firmly. That's a contradiction, but when you do it, you'll know what I mean. So this part for me, I had to really learn to develop because I went through a lot of slipping of my cakes, especially because I love to use fruit fillings. And it was just really hard. And I would look online because I am a self-taught baker. So I literally just trial and error, failing, getting back up, going again. And so what worked for me in terms of stacking is I will put a small layer of frosting on the bottom. And this is pretty much to act like a glue. So when I do put on the strawberry jam, it won't really slip too much. You'll see. So that layer is down. And then I take a piping bag. And I fill it up with more frosting, which is going to create a border so that this jam doesn't spill outside of the cake, especially when I'm frosting it. Cut the tip, create my dam, holding it at the top and gently around the edge and applying pressure from the top. I begin to squeeze. All right, so we made our dam. Now we're gonna put our fruit filling inside. And for this, you probably put about a half a cup's worth of jam. Because if you put too much, you're gonna have spillage, and that's gonna give you a hard time when you're decorating the sides of your cake, and it's just a whole unnecessary mess. I'll put a little bit more, just a little bit for the juice. Okay, I lied. Just a little bit more. Bro, this smells like strawberry ice cream. Oh, yes. All right, that feels good to me. Any more than that, and it's just like, I don't want no problems. And then on the bottom of the cake that's going on next, I'll put the frosting on this side because I'm gonna put this side down on top. So to really cement that nothing, sticks out, this is stuck to this properly, I put another layer of frosting. Whoa. I'm gonna throw this on here, right? We're not gonna let it touch each other though. Okay. And then I'm gonna smooth this. And that's gonna be real good. The strawberry mixed in with the frosting. Come on now, take that, flip it over, and put it down gently onto the top of your cake. Wanna make sure everything is lined up. Remember, gently yet firmly. All right, okay, come through, cake. Looking like money. We're gonna put down our other layer, a little bit of frosting on the bottom to create that glue for the strawberry jam. And if anybody asks, why does my frosting have streaks of red in it and it looks like it's pink? Well, you asked for a strawberry cake. Yeah, we're gonna put our dam to make sure the jelly doesn't leak out. And then we're going to put in One more round of this. All right, this is when I gotta cool it because I love filling. And that was my biggest problem in the beginning. I remember, because I made cakes based on what I wish which is based on what I wish I saw and had when I would go to bakeries and stuff like that. I was like, I want a fresh cake. I want a lot of filling. I want this, that. But then starting to make cakes, I was like, oh, there's a science to this. And if you put that much frosting or whatever on there, I mean, more so filling, because that's what I really like, this cake is gonna fall. And I don't want that. So I used to knock them, but now I'm like, I get it. So I try to put in as much filling as possible, but not to the point where I compromise the integrity of the cake and it being, you know, able to stack well. All right, that feels good. We're not gonna do much more. I'm gonna put this one strawberry on it. Oh, I have to. I must. Okay, one more. And then I'll be so tight because this is what I do literally in real time, because I'm like, I want the client to taste these fresh strawberries that I made. And then it's like, bitch, you can't stack or design the cake anymore because you fucking filled it too much. It's like, hey, I know you want to give them a great cake, but bro, there's a science to this. And so I've been, you know, I've gotten way better at like really compromising on how I feel and stack my cakes and decorate them. So gentle and firm. All right, how we look? We look good. Okay, come through. The cake know it's on TV. It came to play nice. So we stacked our cake. We got our buttercream frosting dam. We got our beautiful strawberry filling inside our Haitian cake. And so now we're gonna decorate the outside. Okay, it looks good. Turn it around. Okay, so for my light crumb coat, put a little bit of frosting here. And then we're gonna fill in the gaps of the cake. So let's fill that in. We'll gently start at the top. Then we're gonna get the sides. All right. We just made our crumb coat. We're gonna put this inside the freezer. Since, you know, I'm filming a video, I want you to get it as fast as possible. We're going to put this in the freezer for about 5 minutes. If you're gonna put it in the fridge, I'll put it in there for probably about 15 to 30 minutes. Here we go. All right. All right, y'all, so I literally just came back from my sink. I ran my bench scraper and my spatula underneath very hot water, and this is gonna create a melting effect, but not really melting the frosting so that it comes out smooth. So I'm gonna work on the top first, because you know I was struggling a little bit earlier, but it's all good. And then we're gonna use our bench scraper to scrape off what's from the top. I feel real good about this. I actually like the way that it domes upwards. Sometimes too, I actually accent it with some gold. I don't have that today and we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna try to keep it as Haitian as possible. I'm gonna keep it at a chocolate ganache and a fruit topping. Okay, so let's finish it up. In my bowl, I have the chocolate ganache. It's been sitting, so it looks a little curdly, but ain't nothing that mixing won't handle. Mix it, mix it, mix it. Mix it, mix it, mix it. And literally chocolate ganache is just, I used a half a cup of, here we go. I used a half a cup of some dark chocolate I had in my fridge. And then I also used 1/2 cup of heavy cream. And I warmed up on the stove. You don't want it overly warm where it's foaming and bubbling. Just literally until you start to see little bubbles on the sides. Then you're good to go. I pour it on top. I cover it with a plate to let it warm up. Take off the plate, mix it up, and then you have this. But that's that chocolate frosting. All right, let's pour that on top. It's so pretty. I use my little small bench scraper. Shouts out to my sister. She taught me the terminology, okay? All right, so my little bench scraper is what I use to just, same thing, circle and push, circle and push, circle and push, circle and push. Push too much, eh? And then I'm just gonna lightly press from the center outward. to create kind of like a spiral effect. I got my slight swirl effect, and all right, and to top it all off, I have my strawberries freshly washed, my blueberries freshly washed and dried, and I have my mint leaves. They were sitting out, so they're slightly wilted, but I'm gonna use them anyway. So what I like to do is I gauge it. Let's see. Well, if you cut into the strawberry the long way, you're able to get a heart, so I like to do that. That's my jam. This is not a heart. But catch me on a good day, and it is. I'm crying. Today is a great day. Why am I fronting? Because I actually cut into it the wrong way. Sorry. Not the long way. The short way is how you get the heart. So you have a very wide width of the strawberry. You want the shorter width of the strawberry and cut across to get the heart shape. Here we go. We're going to do it again. Are you done? Okay, so let's see. I think I'm going to, so on the sides that have like the little, let's see. Yeah, I like that. I think I'll go like this. Kind of cross hatch. What you think about that cross hatch, y'all? Even though I can't hear y'all. Okay, I like the cross hatch. We feeling it, but this is literally how I am when I'm making the cake for a client. I'm sitting there like thinking like, how I want to set this thing off. I think I'll put a blueberry here. In here. Ooh, reminding myself to breathe. Okay. Now, do I want to put a heart in the center? Okay. Oh, hello. And I talk to my cakes because they are my babies. They literally come from my mind into physical matter. It's just a cake baby though, so yeah. I still love it anyway. I think I'm actually going to use the other ones too to create like this three form. It's looking like a happy face. I don't want a happy face. Okay, sorry. This is the part that gets me a little off sometimes. I don't know. Whew, okay. Put my dead mint leaves. It's all good. It's still cute anyway. You know what though? Ooh, if I touch that. You know what, y'all? I think I'm gonna stop there because I feel like I'm gonna do too much. Well, no, because I feel incomplete in my life right now. Hold on. Wait a second. Yeah, but this part I find so much joy in because it's literally a creation part. It's like me looking at a blank canvas and how do I feel like I'm gonna decorate it? But it always comes out pretty, made with all kinds of love and fun energy. And that's the kind of energy I want in my cakes. I'll just top it off with 2 blueberries right here. Now it looks like tits in a fucking skirt. Oh God, it's okay. You see, this is why you can't, bro, this is exactly why when they tell you to stop, you must fucking stop. And they, who is they? It's my intuition and my spirit. It said stop, and you know what I want to do? I want to keep going. So I'm gonna stop right here, okay? Okay. I'm gonna look at it one more time though. Ooh, I'm sorry, I gotta look at it one more time. I'm unpleased. All right, y'all. I'm gonna stop right here because if I keep going, it's gonna turn into a shit show and I don't want y'all to see that for me. Whew, okay. I feel good though. I feel very good. No, I don't because I keep looking at the cake, but it's okay. This is the creative process. So good. Fuck it. No. Hold up. Let me get my dead leaves. Let me gather my dead leaves. Boy. Michelle. Oh, okay. I can't front though. I think I will put 3 right here and I'm gonna fucking regret it. I feel better. You see? Ay, Dios mío. All right, I'm done. Ta-da! Here you have a Haitian cake with Haitian buttercream frosting. We have our beautiful strawberry filling, which made it smell like an ice cream sundae. Then we have our chocolate ganache on top. We have our fresh strawberries, blueberry, and our beautiful wilted mint leaves that we're gonna appreciate in all its goodness anyways for its pop of color. But yeah, I hope that you'll make this cake on your off time. And even if you don't, come through and purchase a cake from me and I can make it for you so you can taste Haitian cake. Thanks for baking with me. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. And until next time.